All right. Well, it's day 3 of our 31 days of horror, 31 days of Halloween, 31 days of Horrorween, however you want to describe it. It's just what we do every year. And day 3, we've got a really, really, really good one. It's from 1927. It's called The Unknown. And despite having the absolute just most nondescript title, I mean, this movie literally could be about anything with a title like that. I mean, I have no idea how long they spent coming up with a name for this movie, but pretty much anything would be better than this. But then again, considering the general premise of the film, I kind of figure it'd be kind of hard to directly market what the script is about because it's pretty morbid. It's directed by Todd Browning, of course, the guy who is famous for what? Come on, kids, you know this one? Two movies: Dracula and Freaks. And this movie is certainly kind of more aligned with Freaks than is Dracula because it's very unnerving. It touches upon some really creepy stuff, and also like Freaks, it takes place primarily in a carnival. So a lot of similarities there. It's kind of like a sort of a practice run, I guess, for Freaks in a way for Todd Browning. But anyway, the premise of this one is incredibly simple. It stars Lon Chaney, and Lon Chaney is a guy who works at the circus, and his gimmick is that he's a guy without arms, and he goes out and he like throws knives at people, and he does a bunch of whole other things that are kind of weird with his feet. And everybody claps because it's 1927. You didn't have the internet back then. You got entertainment wherever you did. And the thing about it is, there's actually sort of a catch to it because Lon Chaney doesn't actually have like amputated arms. He actually does have arms. He hides them behind his back. He has this corset he wears. So he's a con artist. Now, the problem that arises from that is that he's in love with another circus performer. And for whatever reason, and I'm guessing like diegetically they don't explain why she has such a strong aversion to being touched by men, but probably she had some negative experiences with guys. You can't say rape back in 1927, but we all kind of know that's what happened, or probably what happened contextually. And she has like this insane phobia to where she doesn't want to be touched by men. So obviously, the only guy that she wants to talk to is the only guy in circus without arms. So eventually, Lon Chaney, he starts getting sweet on her, and eventually he wants to marry her, and finally, take her off to the wedding bed. But then he realizes, oh wait a minute, I still have arms. She's going to find out I'm a con artist and leave me. So he does what any of us would do. Any naturally intelligent, reasonable, level headed person would. They go to a doctor that they blackmail for some reason or another, and they ask to have their arms amputated. Now, there's actually another plot point here that makes it even more freaky deaky, and it's the fact that Lon Chaney actually, and of course, it's amazing how it works out this way. He actually killed the woman he wants to marry's father with his hands. And freaky enough, he actually has 6 fingers on one of his hands. And of course, the daughter saw it. Strangely enough, she's not that freaked out that her father was strangled to death in a carnival, but whatever. So anyway, so then for sure he can't let the woman see his hands because, hey, not only am I lying about not having arms, I kind of strangled your dad to death. It happens. So anyway, Lon Chaney, he goes through the surgery, has his arms amputated. He comes back to the circus, and oh my goodness, what do you know? All of a sudden, she's had a complete 180 change of character. She's in love with like the new strong man of the circus, guy who lifts weight and does all the Herculean stuff. And Lon Chaney, he's not too happy about this. Not only did he lose his arms, he lost his girl. So of course, and I'm not going to give away the ending because it's the whole point of the movie. It's all build up to it. As Lon Chaney says, you know what? I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to set up this death trap at the circus, and of course, you got to watch it to find out what happens. I'm not going to tell you if it works. I'm going to tell you if it backfires. I'm going to tell you anything. Just he has a really, really morbid plan in place to get revenge, and it might work. It might not. Just saying. So anyway, in case you can't tell from this movie, this stuff is great. I just totally love this one. I mean, the special effects are great. The effects are terrific. Everyone is so incredibly morally ambiguous. I mean, it's just a great, entertaining movie. I mean, it hooks you in. It's only about 55, 60 minutes long, so there's no filler. It's like we go straight in, story, exposition, build up, atmosphere, ambiance, freaky stuff, and then denouement. And then you have the big twist ending. It's great. I mean, this is just really, really, really enjoyable stuff. And I mean, for 1927, this is some really, you know, freaky, creepy stuff. I mean, people having their arms cut off and, people trying to set death traps at the circus. It's just some really, really out there and kind of, a little disturbing. But anyway, like I was saying earlier, it's a great movie. Oh, and Joan Crawford plays the love interest. I almost forgot about that somehow. And the acting is great. Special effects are great. Lon Chaney is just all kinds of creepy. Uh, Excellent acting, great pacing, great atmospherics. You're going to like this one. I really, really enjoyed this one. It's definitely one of the better silent horror films I've seen. Uh, so yeah, if I had to give it a rating, it's very, very, very close. But, there are some slow spots here and there. So I'm going to give it 3.5 Ghost Reese's Cups out of 4. So even then, I mean, it's really, really close to being a legitimate genre masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's only about an hour long. It's terrific, and it paved the way for a lot of stuff. It's really, really eerie stuff, despite the fact that it came out before World War II. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's a good one, and we've got some even freakier stuff coming up, so stick around.